What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to another episode of Insightful Principles. I'm so glad you all are watching right now. And within this episode, I really want to discuss how you can invest in the sports cars. Now, the sports cars industry has seen tremendous growth within the recent year, and even at the beginning of this year in 2021, it has been off to a great start. Now, if you all can do me a huge favor, if you could please like, subscribe, and share this video, that would be greatly appreciated. And throughout this episode, I'm really going to go into details on why you should invest in sports cars, but also looking at the value of sports cars that you may be researching online, and looking at the factors that go into the value of a car, how the value can go down. I'm also going to go over some platforms as well that you can begin your research and start to trade and invest your first sports car. So I believe that when doing the research on this topic, I seen that it has been just tremendous growth with the sports car industry, and I couldn't believe the amount of demand, especially in the recent year, of individuals that were able to buy, say for instance, a Luka Doncic card, rookie card of 2018 for about 50 to 60 bucks, and then flip it a year later to $1,000. It's really crazy to think the buying low and selling high aspect of this specific asset class. And I really want to go into details on just some things I have seen and done research on, and kind of give you some information so you can take action. Now, I believe that one reason why there has been tremendous growth is because people in their 20s and 30s collected cars when they were younger, and now they're finding themselves at home revisiting their car collections. One, to look at ways of how they can possibly sell it online and make some extra money, but also wanting to see the value of their cars and seeing what the demand is. Now, another reason why people are have seen a growth within this industry is nostalgia. And this pretty much means moments that bring you back to your childhood memories, or even a point in history that brings you back to happy personal associations. So parents that grew up in the 70s and 80s that had sports cars, they're now having an interest of making sure that their kids are having that same experience that they had when they were kids. And also, I think another nostalgia moment was when ESPN released their documentary series of Michael Jordan called The Last Dance back in April of 2020. It brought a surge of Michael Jordan cars among auction houses and eBay. The value of the car has increased tremendously up to this day. And I also know that it also presented a greater interest with basketball cars. So not only Michael Jordan, but Magic Johnson, Isaiah Thomas, Larry Bird, all of those different basketball cars, it generated interest from that documentary. And I think that the documentary, it created such a nostalgia moment by bringing back the moments of greatness of MJ, and his cars and his memorabilia really saw an increase in value. And I definitely think that, a Michael Jordan car is only going to continue to become valuable as the years go along. And car collectors and investors are really starting to look at trading sports cars as an alternative asset class. And that's what I want to discuss within this episode. Now, the PwC 100 Index compiled a return of investment comparison between sports cars and also the S&P 500 since January of 2008. They measured this all the way up to December 31st of 2020. I have the percentage of the ROI behind me, but I'm going to go ahead and give it to you as well. And if you don't know what the PwC is, they measure the investment performance of professionally graded trading cars. And the PwC, they showed a return of investment of 392% since 2008 to 2020. And the S&P 500 only had a return of investment of 160%. So this really shows an indicator of an alternative asset class that you may want to keep your eyes on in the future, and that possibly has the potential to grow over time. So why should you invest in sports cars? Well, for one reason, this hobby is similar to flipping sneakers. I know I have a lot of sneakerheads out there, and I know from experience the strategy with sneakers is being able to buy low and sell high, especially when it came to Jordans. Whenever you waited in line to get those fresh pair of J's, the only thought you had in your mind was, okay, I know I'm going to be able to resell these online for about $400 to $500. And it's the same concept when it comes to trading cars. The only difference is the inventory and the volume is much higher, which presents a lot more opportunities. When it comes to trading sports cars, you're able to purchase as many cars as your budget allows, rather than when you're trying to sell, sneakers or trying to flip sneakers. You may only be able to afford one pair when you're waiting in line for a pair of shoes, or even online when you purchase them. So it really shows that the inventory and the volume is there when it comes to the sports car industry. And I also would say another reason to invest is if you're a sports fanatic like myself and you're able to evaluate players that you expect that will become, Hall of Fame caliber, notable icons within the game. That's another reason why you should invest. And I know for me, I like watching basketball. So some rookie cards that I know that I would want to pay attention to is Luka Doncic, Zion Williamson, looking at Jay Morant, also LaMelo Ball. Those are rookie cards that I see players that have the potential to become just more legendary players as the time goes along. And the excitement of seeing these players evolve, as well as seeing the value of the cars increasing, over time, is the main reason why I would want to invest. So in order to invest in sporting cars, you have to be educated on what sports to invest in, whether that's basketball, football, baseball, hockey. You also want to understand what players to buy. You don't want to buy a player that that doesn't have the potential to increase their statistics over time, whether that's winning an MVP, winning a scoring title, becoming a champion. You want to invest in quality players. It's no different with stocks. You want to invest in quality stocks, and this is the same concept when it comes to investing in sports cars. And I know you also have to understand the concept of supply and demand of the cars that you're buying, and also the ones that you're selling. So the first step with investing in sports cars is you have to understand your budget of what you want to spend on sporting cars. And then also you have to have financial goals of what are you looking to accomplish with trading sports cars. Are you looking for more of a long-term investing perspective where you can hold more of a Luka Doncic card for the next 10 years and seeing his career evolve over time and seeing the value of the card increase over time? Or maybe you may be looking for a short-term investment strategy where you can get your hands on, maybe a Jay Morant rookie card, and you're only expecting in the next 3 years that he's going to really evolve, and then after that he may not have as much of an exciting career. So those are two different buying strategies that can be placed when it comes to your financial goals with investing in sports cards. And also when it comes to long-term investing, you're more focused on purchasing a car of a player that's going to grow into a generational icon. And you're really looking at a strategy of which player is going to have the best legacy, as opposed to the short-term implications of one game or a season if you're focusing on a short-term investing strategy. Now, with short-term investing, you have flipping, where you will buy a card at a lower price and then you will resell it at a higher price a few days, months, or even weeks later. And some will also look at short-term based on a player's future performance or the overall value. So if short-term is a strategy that you like, you definitely have to have a good understanding of the game and the sport you're trading, while being aware of the inherent risks. Now, being knowledgeable of the sport and analyzing the players that are on the rise are questions that you do want to ask yourself. Now, I wanted to give you some perspective on how you can find the value of the cars you're collecting. So first, you want to find the year of the card. When you're looking at the card, the best way to look at that is the copyright date with of the card. That's going to really show you that information. Next is finding the card's company's names, and then also you want to look at the player's name as well as the card number. So for an example, if you're looking at a 1986 Michael Jordan Fleer card, the year and name obviously is, Michael Jordan 1986, and then Fleer will actually be the company's card name. And then when it comes to the card number, it would be the number selection of the card it is placed in. So a lot of times when you look at cards, if you look at the top right hand corner, or if you look at the top of the card, you'll see like 57 out of 132. That's pretty much stating that this was the 57 card out of 102 cards selected for that specific set. Now, using eBay is an excellent tool to understand the supply and demand when you're trying to search for a sports card that you potentially want to buy. I know when you are typing in the card on eBay, what you specifically want to do is look at sold items, so you can really look at what has been the price over the last couple months, the last 6 months of that specific card that you're looking at, and it gives you an idea of what you can sell yours for, especially if you bought it at a lower price and you're looking at trying to make a profit. It's a great way to really understand the demand and also the pricing that's going for that particular card. Now, some card companies to invest in are Panini and Topps. Panini actually holds the licenses for basketball and football, and Topps holds the licenses for baseball cards. So that's one thing to keep in mind. A lot of times you will see these card company names when you are looking these cards up online, and it is good to possibly put either Panini or Topps in your search description, because it's going to give you a better predictor of what that specific card value is going for. Now, the types of cards you can collect are rookie cards. These tend to hold the most value just because they have the most potential amount of time to accumulate. What I mean by that is a 2003 LeBron James card is going to have significant amount of value now in 2021, just because of the accolades, the legendary resume that LeBron James has had with his career. It really is going to show that the value of that card has only increased over time. Speaking on that, actually in 2020, there was someone that sold a 2003 LeBron James rookie card for $1.8 million. So it just goes to show you that the card holds tremendous value. Now, I also know that, a lot of times with these rookie cards, they can be pretty expensive. So one thing that you may want to look at is either first year cards or even a second year. You want to look at more second year cards, or you want to look at a first year specific that a player was on the team. So what I mean by that is, maybe you want to look at a 2016 Kevin Durant Warriors card, because that was the first time he appeared on that team. So that's one strategy where you can look at other cards where you can get in for, a lower value and see it grow over time. And this can definitely present opportunities for you in the future. Now, another type of card is boxes. Now, you can find these at retail stores such as Target or even Walmart. And one way to approach this is you can purchase the boxes, you can keep them sealed and hold them as the value rises. Now, sealed boxes, they tend to hold the most value because it gives someone the thrill of seeing what's inside. And that would also give them an incentive to buy and hope to get their hands on a notable player that's highly valued. Now, scenarios that can affect the card's value is deciding on either a modern or a vintage card. What I mean by vintage is picking a card that has been cemented as icons of basketball, for an example. So maybe you're looking at like a Wilt Chamberlain, a Hakeem Olajuwon, maybe even, Magic Johnson or Isaiah Thomas. Those would be vintage cards. Or, when it comes to the vintage cards, the prices, they may not fluctuate on a day-to-day basis. and also the rise of the demand will not go up as the supply increases. Now, more modern cars would be if you're looking at players, like a Luka Doncic or even a Patrick Mahomes. These prices can fluctuate based on the injury or how they play during the season. So it definitely has more implications when you're picking a modern player. But keep in mind, if you do have a long-term investing strategy, you'll be able to overcome if a player had 1 year where they didn't have the greatest season. Now, the grading company is also another aspect of what affects the car's value. And grading companies look at the condition of the car. Some companies out there are PSA and also Beckett grading services. The grades are usually from 1 to 10, with 10 being mint condition. Now, you also can look at the supply and demand of the car by looking at population reports. And PSA population report, it allows you to search the player's name. You're able to get a list of the cars that have been in circulation, along with the population for each car. Now, this tool allows you to compare cars and pick the best car that you think has the most potential. So definitely using these platforms are very informative for you. And then also platforms that you can use to actually start to invest and being able to sell sports cars is you can use eBay, you can use StockX, you can use Facebook Marketplace, also different auction houses. They can provide those opportunities for you. And also another platform is vintagecarprices.com and also pwccmarketplace.com. And I'll put those links in the show notes so you can be able to go ahead and check these websites out. And what they allow you to do is research the market of your sports car, and you can also look at the return of investment for each car. Now, one risk that I want you to keep in mind with investing and selling sport cars is the microeconomic variables. Now, just like any other asset class, the markets go up and also the markets can go down. And collecting cars is not necessarily a top need if there is a recession. Pretty much, if there is a recession, cars are going to be one of the first things to go, and the liquidity could then dry up in the market, and then there can be a decline in the car value. It could be a significant sell-off, and that's why it's important to budget and make sure that you don't overexpose yourself. And also, you want to make sure you're diversified. So what I mean by that is you might want to collect different cars. Maybe you want to look at different sets. You want to look at different players, leagues, rookie cards, or even grading companies. That way, if something does happen where one player doesn't perform the best that you expected they would, you still have other cards in your collection that you can profit off of. So these are all things to keep in mind. And another statistic that I wanted to throw out was actually in January of 2021, there was someone that sold a 1952 Mickey Mantle rookie card for $5.2 million. So it really just goes to show that this sports car industry is alive and well, and it's only going to continue to grow over time. I know there are plenty of people that have talked about this subject, but I wanted to give my take and my perspective on, why you should start investing in sports cars. And that wraps it up for this episode. So I thank you all so much for tuning in. If you please can like, subscribe, and share this video, I would appreciate it. Continue to comment, continue to give feedback, continue to keep sharing these videos with your friends and family. And I want to tell you, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Insightful Principles, and take care.